All good to go.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I will call this January 11th, 2022 meeting of Lawrence County Board of Commissioners to order. Will all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a brief moment of silence. Rich, would you lead us in pledge?
Absolutely. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'll please remain standing for a brief moment of silence. Thank you. Vanessa, please call the roll.
Commissioner Steelvogel?
Here.
Commissioner Vogler?
Here.
Commissioner Boyd?
Here. Row officer reports and comments. I see we have our illustrious treasurer, Richard L. Rapone, with us today in the audience. Rich,
Yes.
approach the bench. How you doing today?
Wonderful. Good morning, everybody.
Always good to see
Happy
you.
New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. That's
New Year.
right, yes.
Yes, absolutely. All righty, I'm very happy to submit the 2021 Lawrence County Treasurer's Report. In the month of December, the Treasurer's Office collected a little over $1 million. The total year-to-date collections for 2021 is $28.6 million. We put the breakdown there just for your interest, how the different payments were tendered, whether it be through cash, checks, or credit card. The total potential for the year starting off in 2021 was $30,738,429.53, and that does include the regular tax bill and the 2 interim bills throughout the year as far as revenue goes. A total of 235 tax statements were exonerated to face, so that would bring down the total potential to $30,651,594.36. So I'm very happy to please, and for the first time to say, we reached a 93% collection rate. It's always been 92% since I've been treasurer in 2008. This year, 93%. So once again, many, many thanks to the taxpayers of Lawrence County.
And
Through
yes,
the pandemic,
how
through
interesting.
the economic
That's-
stresses,
Wow,
that's what they
Wow.
may have. They came through for us. I'm very
Right.
grateful to them for satisfying their 2021 tax bond we had over there. So a total of 53,502 parcels were made out, and we collected 48,341 of them. Morgan, you requested the last meeting that we break it down in revenue for general fund, debt services, and libraries. So we have
Thank you.
provided you with that to look at that, and that's through our municipal. So that'll help you understand kind of general fund and debt services and libraries.
Yeah, I appreciate that. The other thing it does is it shows, I think, I'm maybe looking at this report, that your tax revenue is not just going to the general fund, it's going to dedicated debt service fund, it's going to pay for libraries across the county.
That's right.
And I remember I emailed you and pressed upon, I was very, very confused at one point. I was looking at one of the
Sure.
reports and it showed X amount of collections. And I looked at our fund balance and I went, this doesn't jive. And it turned out that was what it was. It was,
right.
Yeah, the only thing is, please keep in mind that it doesn't reflect the exonerations throughout the year because the munis are daily receiving. So if somebody paid like $1,000 in 1 month and then they came in and filled it, and then we were giving them a refund and
Okay,
exoneration. So
Gotcha.
there's a little give and take there, but hopefully that gives you what you want. If you turn the
Okay.
page over, of course, the Lawrence County tax outreach was very successful. The highest amount, $776,679.06. And the Tran note, we were very happy because of the collections. And once again, thank you to the taxpayers of Lawrence County. We were able to pay that off early, saving the county $24,937.08 in interest. Okay, a reminder, postcards were mailed out. That's always very beneficial because that creates revenue in between, that October and December for the county. So that was very successful. Dog sales, 11,215. Doe tags, 9,671. Any questions on 2021?
I do. I have a couple.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just from your memory,
Sure.
and please, I don't expect you to go back and look it up.
Okay.
I'm curious about the antlerless tags
Yes.
through the years.
Through the years.
Is that number going down, steady, going up?
It's pretty, go ahead, Melissa.
No, it has declined a little bit because they decreased our allotment by 9,000 tags.
I see.
Yeah, especially Lawrence County falls into 1A Wildlife Management Unit and
Right.
everything, so they decreased that, so of course, we're gonna feel that. In other areas, they increased it. they decreased it for us, so there is a little bit.
I specifically asked that for Joe's benefit.
Absolutely. Rich, I'd like you to get it bumped back up.
You know, we had to put that up, because normally, you know, we sold out so early because the allotment was decreased. We had to explain that to our hunters, that, you know, we're just dealing with what was given to us.
Yep.
You know, and the same with the dogs have increased over the years too, because so many people are getting lifetime licenses as opposed to a yearly license. You know, which to them is more beneficial, they're one and done, as opposed to every single year. So we see a little bit of fluctuation with that as well. I think I mentioned as far as tax claims go. So we have 4,781 parcels being sent over to tax claims, and that is about $1.9 million in revenue. So that's what's going on over there. Any other questions for
Can I do
2021?
one more?
Yes.
I think I know the answer, but let me take you back up towards the top when you broke out the year-to-date collections between
Yes.
cash, checks, and credit
Yes.
cards. A person like myself who has a mortgage
Yes.
and an escrow, and that is withheld, and then at some point during the year, the institution then forwards those dollars to you. I assume, number one, that falls under the check definition, and it would be a wire transfer of some
It would
sort?
be, yeah, which is wonderful. It's called a TPA. What they do is they send like $6 or $7 million, okay? And then it's for everyone that's escrowed with the different mortgage companies and everything. And then what the deputies would do, they'll cross-reference that to some people, well, it's been paid one way, and then we have to deposit the check, send them a check, so we balance everything out. So you're right, yeah, that's your escrow companies or large checks. And those are normally done during the discount period. You get the 2%.
Thank you, thank you.
Yes.
So for 2022, the treasurer's office has done everything on our end that we need to do. We are all ready to go. Everything's done. So we're waiting for the assessment office. JR is fine tuning, getting all his books in from the different tax collectors. And then he's telling me he should be able to create the file within the next week or so. So once that file goes to our vendor, and then we approve. So we're very much on schedule as much as we can do for 2022. The tax outreaches, I'm happy to say, everybody wants to participate this year. So we have, everyone's participating. A little caveat though with Union Township, which I find kind of, you know, they were concerned, of course, with COVID, and they canceled last year. So I had this thinking, and I'm thinking, well, okay, they don't want us inside, but how about outside? And
That's what you did.
so I asked them, how do you feel about going to the pavilion by the duck pond? So the supervisor said, that's a great idea. It's outdoors and,
Yes.
you know, now
right.
hoping and praying the weather stays decent.
When
He's got
are they
it up by end of
scheduled?
it, end of it.
Okay.
So, yeah, but at least we're kind of, everybody is
Right.
participating. So we'll do it anyway.
I hope you put on a mailer in the location, Pavilion by the Duck
It
Pond
will.
for
It's
you.
gonna be in that little
Oh,
square.
of
Well, I don't know if it's gonna say duck pond, it's the name of the
The
pavilion.
pond.
Yeah, it's not gonna be the.
Do
They
you
know
have
that.
an electrical outlet that you can plug your equipment into?
They do, but all I need is just, the calculator's on my battery, so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
they
just, so.
Be careful where you walk out
We've
there.
got so many calls from, you know, taxpayers in Union Township, why aren't you coming? And with all due respect,
Right.
that was their choice. And everything, but this year I said, let's kind of think outside the box.
Right.
What do you think about that pavilion and everything? So they said, that's wonderful. So I'm happy.
Just watch your step in the grass.
Oh, I
You know
know.
what geese
I
and
know.
ducks do.
It's gonna be interesting. I'm sure there'll be some great stories, but at
Oh,
least
I am sure there
we'll have some fun with that one. But
Yes,
you know,
you
but
will.
they were happy to accommodate us. You know,
That's
as
good.
the taxpayers. So I think it'll be a fun day.
Absolutely.
Hopefully
Every
a good
day is a
not
fun
only
day,
later,
right?
You know, so but yeah, so we're all ready to go. We're all ready to go for 2022.
I still want to get you like a big blow up rich balloon, like the handout. I just think that'd be hysterical.
But once again, in closing, just thank you to our taxpayers who come through for us. And then, like you always say, Dan, it's the only form of revenue the county makes. And they step up quick and fast
Yes.
when they get that
Sure.
tax bill. And I'm thrilled that it's 93%. That's the
That's,
first
yeah,
one.
congratulations.
You know, thank you. Thank you to them for making the reason for it. So, any other questions?
I just have a comment, you know, as the dog lovers in our community, we have so many dog lovers. A young relative of mine commented that their dog had mail come
Oh,
for them.
yes,
Uh-huh.
yes.
And you don't realize just those little things that
Yeah, we make it
that resonate with people, yes.
We do.
Yeah,
We
the
started
dog got mail.
the dog on. We started that when I first got elected, And the dog owners, they see that little
Yeah, absolutely.
extra
Yeah.
touch to it.
Yeah.
So,
Very good.
I got one as well.
You have one as
Same.
well?
It
Wonderful.
wasn't addressed to me, it was addressed to my dog.
Thank you.
very much.
Thank you for everything. Thank you, Melissa.
Good work, keep it up.
Absolutely.
Up next, public comment. I am shocked.
Lay it down, everyone.
Fiscal and contractual, we have a repository property up today. Make this resolution 2022
This is the first one.
Wow.
Now therefore be resolved by Lawrence County Board of Commissioners, the board is authorized to execute bid acceptance form, accepting the bid made by Robert Climens, the amount of $500 for repository property located on Cumberland Avenue at a parcel ID number 10-063400.
May I interrupt, please?
Yes.
Should that not read Homestead Avenue? Because earlier in the resolution, it states Homestead, and in the two documents that are attached,
Homestead.
and then, may I also ask that in the resolution, you make note of the fact that this is located in the borough of Elport. I realize the parcel ID would say that,
Right.
but I think to make it, if we ever have to go back and look it up, could we add the fact that it's in the borough of Elport?
I really have no issue with that.
Thank you.
So added. I'll note this has been accepted. This is a rare occurrence. This has been accepted by both the
Mhm.
municipality and the school district. That might be the first one we've ever seen like that.
Right.
So on that note, I will take a motion to approve, unless there's any questions, comments. Motion to approve resolution 2022-1.
So moved.
Second.
The motion is second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, question on the motion. Vanessa, please call the roll.
Commissioner Spielvogel,
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler,
Yes.
Commissioner Boyd,
Yes.
motion carries.
Thank you. Congratulations, Mr. McCollum, on your very own repository property. Acceptance of proposals, none. Receipt of bids and proposals, none. We do have warrant registers dated January 7th, 5th, 3rd, and December 30th, 2021. I'll give my colleague probably more than a minute to check those over.
Thank you.
I'll note this is likely due to the fact that due to lack of business, we canceled last week's Board of Commissioners meeting.
I will move for the acceptance.
Motion? Second. Motion second for discussion, hearing none, question on the motion. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign, motion carries. Approval of minutes from Tuesday, December 30th, 2021. Again, I'll give my colleagues a minute to check those over and take a motion to approve or make any changes as necessary.
So moved.
Second.
The motion is second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, question on the motion. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign, motion carries. We have one receipt of written communications for an NPDES permit at Barton SRSTP State Route 208 Class BPA. Purpose of this notice is to inform you of the intent of Fortress Real Estate LLC owned by Scott and Linda Barton to submit an application for a new national pollutant discharge elimination system, individual permit to discharge sewage effluent from small flow treatment facilities and a new water quality management permit with Pennsylvania DEP for the following. Fortress Real Estate LLC, Barton SRSTP, State Route 208, Class EPA 16143. Project description: single resident sewage treatment plant to serve a proposed home to be located on property located on State Route 208, and it provides the longitude and latitude for those of you who might be interested in that. If there's any questions or comments, I'll take a motion to accept and file for response.
So moved.
Second. Motion second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, question on the motion. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign, motion carries. Staff reports. Remember, staff here has anything to report above and beyond what's already on the agenda. Seeing none. Commissioner reports and comments. Dan, you're on deck first today. Floor is yours.
Thank you so much. Yesterday, Commissioner Spielvogel and I attended the quarterly meeting of the Northwest Pennsylvania County Commissioners Group. It was held in Jefferson County out in Brookville Borough. And as they always are, it was a very informative meeting, gives us the opportunity to talk with other county commissioners from the region. Our executive director of the County Commissioners Association of the state was there, Lisa Schaefer, and she gave an update on things that are happening, particularly at the state level as it relates to county government, with a good deal of emphasis on elections, but we talked about that earlier today. Interestingly, on April 11 of this year, it will be Lawrence County's turn to host. We moved from county to county. Actually be the first time we've ever hosted because we're fairly new to this group. They brought us in, I don't know, 5-6 years ago. And one of the things Loretta and I kicked around, sorry to hit you cold with this, but we thought about maybe asking Judge Motto if he'd like to present on the drug treatment court to the group. But the other thing we have to iron out, we have time, is a location. And we've given some thought to trying to find some place, maybe in the eastern end of the county that's closer to I-79 and 422. So we have a couple of places in mind, but we'll talk more about that. So, and I'm sure you have more to add about it, but it was a good meeting.
It was a very good meeting, discussion on the opioid settlement,
Right.
the progress of that, of course, elections, and I think, Morgan, you and I had talked before about even the possibility of the different litigations that would be involved with the maps being drawn and maybe the primary being moved. That was brought up as well. And, you know, it just seems that once again, that bit of turmoil is we'll be waiting until the last minute to do things pending any changes that there might be. So again, discussion, but I was surprised. It was a large group. I would say close to 50 people were there. Quite surprising, but good though. I mean, they talked about the medical marijuana and the process there. The woman was very well spoken, knowledgeable, and very precise with comments. I wanted to contact with her to see if maybe there's some way that we could have her come to speak, just in general. You know, even to our staff, just about, you know, what is all involved with it and you know, the legalities and things like that. So it was interesting. Good meeting.
The courthouse is right on their main street in
Yes.
Brookville. It's a beautiful structure. But the commissioner's office is across the street, maybe about a half block
Yes.
down in an office building, again, also along the main street. The one thing we didn't ask, I should have, knowing you might have been here today, is whether their treasurer is still in the old courthouse or not. They said that some of the row offices are in.
The duck pond.
He wants to put me out in the bank in Union. So
We looked at purchasing that for you.
great drive-through.
Beautiful drive.
I think it'd be a great spot for a Starbucks, not for me.
Hey.
By the movie theater, right? Honestly. But yeah, it has our drive-through.
There you go. Oh my God.
But that's all I have today.
Thank you. Yeah, I really have nothing to that.
Same thing here. I mean, I think speaking about our meeting and of course we had our election board meeting this morning, appointing Tim Germaini, well deserved, to the position vacated by the passing of Ed Ellison. Yes. Again, with everything going on and happening, I think we've all said before, we feel very secure in our processing here in Lawrence County. Yes.
I do have a question. Is there a real possibility the primary can be moved up? I know that they've talked about that.
Move back.
Moved into June.
Yeah, yes, not up.
Why not? Wow.
Maps.
With the map drawing and the way she explained it, and that the congressional maps were approved a certain way, and then our state maps a different way. So it's there's like two different discussions in the balance. They're thinking like we did, I think, during
Because
the
of the MAP
pandemic
decision,
into
they would have
June,
to
yes,
have it in
with,
June. But then would it stay in June or would it be,
No, I'd come back.
It would come back to
I know they always
town.
talked about Pennsylvania factoring in to primaries to have it
right,
more earlier when the other states were going, like a super
Right.
Monday, Tuesday, whatever,
Mhm.
you know.
Which we can do, it's just they have to let us know that and they have to change. There's a process that we have to follow under the law.
right,
I
And
see.
there's certain legal timelines, there's also certain practical timelines that are
Okay.
associated with that process. For a county to spin up an election takes roughly, I'd say probably a safe timeframe would be about 90 days from start to finish. I think legally it's 60 or 70 days.
Okay.
But you don't want counties to be down to the wire when it relates to election when
Right.
everything runs smoothly.
Okay,
yes, mhm,
so that would be unique to this year because of the maps.
right,
Okay,
And the other thing to remember there specifically is the congressional districts specifically have to be done. Because we're shrinking the seats, so you can't just use the same congressional map
right.
because we're lacking the seat. The state ones they can push down the road. But I don't know what active or pending litigation's in court right now that might stall that process.
interesting, thank you.
It's always an adventure.
All right, we'll try to breeze through these pretty fast. These are all relatively mundane and administrative resolutions that we run through on an annual basis. First on deck, we have resolution 2022 dash.
Two.
Oh, all right.
Yes.
2022-2. Resolution for discussion of possible approval to enter into agreement with Susan Papa for truancy master. Authorization hereby given to execute agreement with Susan Papa, Esquire, attorney, law offices at 439 Court Street, Newcastle, PA. Don't know where that is. For the provision of truancy court as assigned by Lawrence County Court of Common Pleas. Agreement shall be effective Jan 1, 2022 through December 31, 2022, unless terminated sooner by either party. Compensation shall be $85 per hour to be paid on a monthly basis, with payments being made by electronic transfer. This position is it's effectively, I don't want to say a weed out position, but it helps stomp a huge number of cases from overwhelming the Court of Common Pleas. So in other words, under this position, Susan Papa is able to make certain judgments or issue certain orders as it relates to the safety and well-being of children. And the goal there really, again, is to not get to a position where the family court judge is totally overwhelmed by the sheer number of cases that go through that system. Any questions or comments on resolution 2? Hearing none, I'll take a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Question on the motion, Vanessa, please call the roll.
Commissioner Spielvogel,
Yes,
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes,
Commissioner Boyd?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Resolution 3, discussion possible approval to enter an agreement with Robert Barletta, John Bonjavingo, Michael Bonner, Joe Carney, and Kevin Lorello, I hope I'm saying that right, for criminal cases, compensation being $24,000 per year to be paid in 12 equal installments on or about the 10th day of the month. Contracts running through January 1, 2023, through December 31, 2022. And with this, I'll note that in instances where there might be conflicts with different attorneys or in instances where the court might need to appoint counsel, we contract with a large slate of attorneys to give the court flexibility in servicing their needs, specifically as it relates to the appointment of different attorneys for, in this case, criminal cases. Questions, comments on these? Hearing none, I'll take a motion.
so moved.
second,
Motion is second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none. Question on the motion, Vanessa, please call the roll.
Commissioner Spielvogel,
Yes,
Commissioner Vogler?
yes,
Commissioner Boyd?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Resolution given for discussion possible approval of agreement with John Bonjavingo, Larry Kootenary, Deb Shaw, Kerry Flannery, Eugene Tempesta for juvenile cases. Now that we resolved by Lawrence County Board of Commissioners. Again, this is $24,000 per year, paid in 12 equal installments on or about the 10th day of each month, running through January 1 through December 31. This is the same rationale as the previous motion, but in this case, these individuals are more involved in that juvenile court system, serving as guardian ad litems or other needs that the courts may have. Questions or comments on the resolution? Hearing none, I'll take a motion.
so moved.
second,
The motion is second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, question on the motion, Vanessa, please call the roll.
Commissioner Spielvogel?
Yes,
Commissioner Vogler?
yes,
Commissioner Boyd?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Up next, resolution discussion possible approval enter an agreement with Joanne Nini for custody master. Authorization hereby given to execute an agreement with Joanne Nini Esquire for that service. Agreement shall be effective for the period Jan 1, 2022 through December 31, 2022. Compensation shall be $85 per hour paid on a monthly basis. And this is just for the custody master position. Questions or comments on that? Hearing none, I'll take a motion for 5.
So moved.
Second, we have a motion to second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, question on the motion, Vanessa, please call the roll.
Commissioner Spielvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyd?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. I'll note on this one, this is gonna be 2022, not 2021. It'll be -6. Mike, how you doing today?
Great.
Good to see you. Come on up for CYS. And what do we have going on here today with Hermitage House?
Just a resolution to renew it.
Thank you, Mike.
They've been with us.
Thank
Um,
Is it located in is it not
Crawford
located?
County, yeah.
It's not even in Hermitage?
Yeah.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, I know. I thought the same thing at
Yeah.
first. But, yeah,
Cambridge Springs, that's
Cambridge Springs,
Crawford,
yeah.
Crawford County.
yeah, Crawford County.
That would have been my guess too.
Yeah.
That's what I thought at first. But, yeah, basically it's just a resolution to renew it. We have 2 children there now. Our share's 20%.
What services do they provide?
It's a placement service.
Placement.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Questions or comments on this one from Mr. Grippo?
Yeah.
All right, hearing none. We'll take a motion to approve resolution 2022-6.
So moved.
Second. The motion is second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Question on the motion. Vanessa, please call the roll.
Commissioner Spielvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes,
Commissioner Boyd?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Thanks, Mike.
Oh, thank you.
you haven't heard from your cousin, have you?
Now,
Okay.
I'm gonna give them heck when I
Well,
see them.
When you do, tell them we said hi.
I will.
Thank you.
I'll text them.
Thank you.
Up next, a couple of transfers here. First on deck, we have some additional expenditures out of the elections office. This relates to some updates to our machinery as well as some training for the staff members. The money for this is being taken out of solicitor special counsel. The reason, unfortunately, that there is a surplus of funds in there is due to the untimely departure of former Attorney Leslie. So that's where we're getting the funds from. Questions or comments on that? Make that 7. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second. Motion is second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none. Question on the motion. Vanessa, please call the roll.
Commissioner Spielvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes,
Commissioner Boyd?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Next on deck 8, coming from the same place. This covers all the changes we just made in salary board. Questions, comments? Hearing none, I'll take a motion.
So moved.
second.
The motion is second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Question on the motion. Vanessa, please call the roll.
Commissioner Spielvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes,
Commissioner Boyd?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. This is transferring some money to HR. Employee benefits. Rationale for this is that the employee, one of the employees in there was an opt-out. Her husband retired, also works from the county. He retired. And so now she's unable to take that
Right.
opt-out and needs to, is coming back onto county benefits. Questions, comments on it?
I don't mean to belabor it, just so I understand. You had a husband and wife, both of whom were county employees.
Yes.
Right? So the husband retires,
Yes.
so the benefits now have to go strictly to her, and not to her strictly, but under her, because she's the employee, he no longer is.
Yes.
It's basically a wash though, is it not?
Yes, yeah. we'll do
Okay.
that.
Okay, thank you.
Actually, it's a little cheaper because you're not paying the opt-out.
Exactly.
So,
Okay, thank you much.
absolutely. So we'll make that 9. And do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
A motion second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Vanessa, please call the roll.
Commissioner Spielvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes,
Commissioner Boyd?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Up next, 2 admin transfers. One is EMA contingency to EMA land building rental. We were working on getting some of those files removed from mine. We were unsuccessful in getting all of them out so far. We're working on it. Again, because the 911 facility has the capacity to store those files.
Yes.
So until such time as we were successful in retrieving those files, we need to have some money budget to pay the storage fees. Not a whole lot, it's $131. But that's where we're at there. And then the second one is just a CDBG revision. moving $34,000 from Union ADA to Union Rehab, which is a revision that was done in 2021 under grant guidelines to transfer funds from ADA to. Do any questions on either of those?
No.
I'll take a motion to approve admin transfers, A and B.
So moved.
Second, we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, question on the motion, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign, motion carries. No ordinances today. Announcements, next regularly scheduled commissioners meeting is 10 a.m. Tuesday, January 18th in the commissioners meeting room. The planning commission meeting is canceled
Right.
due to lack of development in Lawrence County. And there will be a prison board meeting on Wednesday, January 19th, 2022 at 12 o'clock in the commissioners meeting room. I was actually talking to Josh this morning. It sounds like he's going to bring up an interesting proposal from both Josh and the board as it relates to filling our information specialist position. Over there recently, information specialist or intelligence officer or whatever the formal position is that Ms. Danick formerly held. So looking forward to that. The other thing I'll mention is Dan was kind enough to slide over to me, is that the courthouse is closed on Monday, January 17th in celebration of Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Am I missing anything?
Yeah.
I think that's it. Any additional public comments? Hearing none, any additional business that any of the board members feel should be brought before the board? Seeing none, Lawrence County Board of Commissioners adjourned.
Thank you.
We're trying to use the gavel more.
Very good.
So 1:30 with our Mercer County.
Yes.
Got that.
That's it.